Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Jamie McDonald here, back with Mike Beaning and our guest, the ever awesome Chris Smith, the
Hey
founder of
guys.
the Out of Chicago Conference.
Hey, how
Uh,
you doing, Jamie?
we are doing excellent. How are things over there in the city with the Green River?
Things
Yeah,
are wonderful. I don't think it's green anymore, but yes,
Yeah,
it sure was last weekend, and it's beautiful. Actually, the grass is green. We can see the grass now finally, so that's fantastic.
that's
yeah,
definitely a wonderful thing. I know we've been waiting for that here in Michigan, so I'm assuming you are in Chicago as well.
Oh,
yeah.
for
You'll
sure.
get
Yeah.
yours. Yeah, you'll get yours maybe a little first there. But
Yeah,
there's still some green around your sideburns there, Chris, from being in the
Green. Oh
yeah
no, I think it's
from your
gray.
party. I'm
I
sure.
think it's gray, not green. You're seeing.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, I can say that. You know what? The other day I turned 40. Is
I
that
know.
crazy? So it was my birthday the other day, Friday the 13th. So all right, done
Yeah.
that.
awesome.
But yes, I'm getting old.
So I guess I'll just kind of lay out the show outline for the people that are tuning in. You know, it's going to be just our typical kind of a low-key thing. We're going to get some updates from Chris on what's going on with the Out of Chicago conference because there have been some exciting additions, I think, to the conference that we'll talk about. And then we're going to do our kind of our traditional show format, you know, where we do an image share. And tonight we're going to talk, do a few picks. Everybody's got something that they want to talk about product-wise. So let's, I guess, lead off with Out of Chicago, Chris. So what's new there? I know that there's some new people coming in for that.
Absolutely. So we've got, oh my goodness, I think 33 different presenters now, including the two of you, which we're
Right.
super psyched about. But yeah, we've got some new ones. The one I'm really excited about is Juan Pons. If you guys watch the
Mhm.
digital photo experience with Rick Salmon and Juan
Yeah.
Pons, so
Yeah,
Juan
that's gonna be great.
He's going to be doing wildlife photography, and he's teaching Lightroom, and he's doing all sorts of stuff. I'm super excited about that. And I'll just throw this in if you're excited about Out of Chicago 2016. And I'm going to say it here so that he has to follow through on it. But Rick Salmon says he's coming next year. So Rick's going to be here for 2016. So he
All
couldn't
right.
make it this year. But next year,
That's
that's going to be great.
fantastic.
Yeah, and we got so many different companies on board. We got Olympus and Panasonic, Sigma, Tamron, all those, but we also have Canon, and they're sending one of their Explorers of Light, so that's another addition. Bob Davis, he's a wedding photographer here in Chicago. I've seen him before. He's fantastic, and that's going to be great as well. And one other, we got like 3 or 4 other people we added too. And another thing is a workshop with Levi. You guys know Levi Sim. You guys
Yes.
have had him on and stuff. He's doing a different workshop now too. He's going to be doing like studio lighting, and you know how he does like his Steve Jobs portraits and that.
Yeah.
Yes.
How he does that, and he's going to be doing like it's crazy. I've seen some photos of him at some of these conferences he's gone to, and he shows these shots. And you're like, man, I wish I had a studio like that. And then you see the background picture, and he's standing on the steps like out in the middle of the daylight, but he's got all the equipment to make it look awesome. So he's going to be teaching that as well. That's all part of one of the Thursday pre-conference workshops. So we got all sorts of new additions and all the other stuff going on. We got tons of people signed up. We got some classes sold out, but there's a lot still available. And
Sweet.
yeah, it's going to be really fun.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
can you tell the viewers if there are there any kind of offers that might be floating around out
Oh,
there?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Well, first off, you guys had some, but yes, we've decided we're going to do something extra special just for today. You know, I may only make it last like a week or something like that so that people have time to watch this, but we're going to do the early bird is already $100 off, and we've been doing a lot of discounts for $50 off. We're going to do a special one just for you guys and just for your listeners, $100 off of the early bird. So it's going to
Wow.
bring it down all the way to $199. So
That is awesome.
so yeah, so you're gonna have to use a code for that, and it's just gonna be Mirrorless Minutes, one word. And go to outofchicago.com or outofchicago.com/conference and sign up. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and actually, you guys have done an awesome job just pushing people our way. I mean, there's some, we got a lot of people, but you guys have been great. I love it. Thank you very much.
Well,
Yeah.
we are definitely honored to be a part of it. So
Oh,
Well, and I
we-
know that many of our definitely many of the viewers are coming. You know, just from the feedback we've been getting, they're pretty psyched about being there. So I think we're going to be a whole bunch of Mirrorless Minutes people there.
yeah, we ought to do like a little get together of just some Mirrorless Minutes people. That'd be kind of fun, right? We'll figure
That
that
would be
out.
really cool.
That'd be
Yeah.
good.
That would be definitely excellent. Well, you know what? I mean, and plus, if you look at Jamie tonight, we're going to have to He's got like Bono's brother look there tonight. So
That's right.
I mean, we might even be able. Maybe we could get him next year. Maybe Jamie can contact him.
Oh, we'll just have Jamie sing. That'll work too.
Oh boy,
I like that.
you won't get many returns. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that might ruin 2016, eh?
Trying to put my promotional materials on here. We got I got a huge box of lanyards from Olympus. We got a ton of them, like 500 of them or something. So we're ready to go. Everyone's going to be wearing Olympus at the thing. But yeah, we're super excited to have. I mean, all these different companies, but Olympus is the head sponsor. And tell us, they're going to be bringing all the equipment too, right? How's that going to go down?
Definitely. So they're going to be bringing what we call live drive kits, and I'm not sure exactly what the content is going to be. I'm going to assume that there will be an assortment of the OMD line, so I'm guessing OMD EM1, probably the EM5 Mark II, which should be more than readily available at that point. So I can see some of those being part of the kits as well, and I guess you could expect to find a huge assortment of lenses. I know that when Mike came to my photo walk last fall here, Olympus sent the live drive kits, and they sent this gigantic Pelican case that was just stuffed with every lens you can imagine that Olympus makes. It was insane.
4/3 lenses, everything, wasn't it?
Yeah, there were a huge assortment. So you can expect something very similar at the Out of Chicago conference. You're definitely going to have a vast selection of gear to choose from, and it's all available to be loaned out. It's not going to cost you anything to loan it out for the duration of one of the walks that you're going to be on or whatever, and there'll be plenty of people on hand like myself and Mike that'll be there willing to work with you with that gear when you're out on the walks. It's definitely
it's not like you're just walking around the table with it and shooting pictures of other attendees or whatever. You're going out in the city with that stuff, so they must really trust us.
Yeah,
definitely. I think don't we? One of our walks is sold out, I think, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
We got one walk, I think, the Motion of the City one. So we got to make sure everybody's got a mirror, an Olympus in their hands for that.
That's right. I think that's one of the rules. I think that's got to be in there.
I think so. Yeah, definitely. Well, let me ask you, Chris. So this year, because I was there last year, I was at the inaugural one, and it was fantastic, and I loved it. I thought it was one of the best conferences I've been to from a photo point. But this year, I hear there's this new teacher that just ran around last year, like he was running the show or something. But this year, I guess he might be teaching. And that's you.
Well, I will say I'm not a new teacher. I've been teaching 17 years now, I think. But I teach physics. But as far as doing the photography stuff, yes, I'm going to be teaching. I'm going to be doing my presentation on photographing Chicago. Talk about my favorite places to go. Give all the tips along the way, whether it's night photography and light trails or whatever it is. I'm going to give all that, and I've been doing that like to the local camera clubs around here and stuff. So if you're listening to this, you're in Chicago and you've seen me, it's going to be the same dumb jokes and everything. So so you guys want to go see Jamie and Mike instead. Yeah. But if you're coming in from out of town, you want to know the best places, that's what we're going to be doing. It'll be a fun presentation.
Yeah, that'll be great because heck, ahead of time they probably could get into your book as well. I'm assuming a lot of that stuff was probably from your book that you've written.
Yep.
Which is great because I know we've promoted it here on the show too. If you're going to go to Chicago, that's the book to get. And I'm trying to think of you got to start writing one now for some other cities.
Well, yeah, or you do. You guys get to do the Detroit one, yeah.
We can do a Detroit one, definitely.
So while we're on the subject of the book, why don't you name drop the title of your book for everybody, Chris?
So the book is The Photographer's Guide to Chicago. It's on Amazon, and you'll be amazed. It's got like tons of great reviews. So I don't know. I was like, I just put together this little thing, and it's gotten really big. So thanks for mentioning it.
Very cool.
Yeah, for sure. So, Levi, talking about Levi, he actually, when was it, Jamie? The 15th, I think, of April.
Yes.
Is when Levi's coming on, tax day. So hopefully everybody's taxes are done, and we'll have Levi's going to be on the Mirrorless Minutes show. So we'll have him talk about he's got a new workshop, you said?
Yeah, so he's
Can
going
he
to do
do
a
it?
Thursday one now too.
Oh,
And
he's going to do a Thursday one.
lighting,
Okay.
yeah. And I think there's one spot left in his Friday one where he's going to be going around to actually, he's crazy, like going to talk.
I
He'll talk
know.
to anybody. So we've got him set up to go to a couple. He's going to go to one of the bars in the area. He's going to go to a couple other places, and they're going to shoot like the employees. We talked to them. They're like, yeah, that's fine, that's great. So he's going to talk about how he does that, you know, in his profession, and teach it to everyone else, and how to get everyone involved and do a great shoot like that. So that's the Friday one. There's one spot left, but the Thursday one is all the studio stuff. That's the one we just added.
Oh, that'll be excellent. Yeah, I know. He's a lot of fun. I caught I think his Lightroom class last year, and that weekend on the way in that weekend to your show was when Aperture was announced, and they were killing it.
Right, exactly.
Because I remember having a small heart attack. I think I was on the Skyway into Chicago when it was announced. Because my daughter says, "Oh, Dad, what's Aperture? They just read it's been killed or something." I said, "Oh, great." Because I was using Aperture, so I remember, I got to get in this class about Lightroom.
Well, it's better for you anyway. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Lightroom's great.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah, we got all those new things. Yeah, I mean, we're super excited. Like I said, there's like 33 different photographers teaching, and they're all doing photo walks, and it's going to be a great weekend. So if you guys can join us, definitely come on out.
Yeah.
It's amazing how huge this is. So how much has this grown since last year? How many people did you have presenting? Do you remember last year?
I think we had 15 people presenting last year, and I started to put together a list of the people that I wanted to have this year, and I had my team that's been helping me, and they're like, this kind of sounds like it might be more than one day. It's like, yes, it's more than one day. And yeah, it's just been weird. And then I talked to these companies, and it's Olympus, and we'll send you guys. And I talked to Panasonic, yeah, we'll send him. And everybody's sending a different photographer. And then they're all like, yeah, we'll sign up and we'll get booths. That's the other thing that's different this year. I mean, we didn't have anything like Olympus with the lenses like you're talking about. We didn't have any vendors at all. But this year we've got all those different companies. They're going to have booths set up. There's going to be stuff for sale. We're going to have lots of prizes, all that kind of thing that we didn't really have a lot of last year. So yeah, it's growing. It's in some ways it's gotten a little bit more than I wanted it to be, but I mean it's great. I mean I originally envisioned it as just Chicago photographers getting together, and we may in the future do something where it's just Chicago photographers, a separate type of thing. But this has got legs, and we're going with it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to me how much you've grown that in 1 year. I mean.
Thank you.
I don't know. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I
just
can
to
see
have
that.
you guys there. I mean, that's it. So we've made it.
So we're probably about to almost our halfway point in the show, and
right.
I promised the viewers that we would do kind of get back to the traditional show format, where we share what we've been up to and some product picks and things like that. But we had to lead off with just how phenomenal the Out of Chicago conference is getting. It just keeps growing and getting bigger and more and more people.
Don't build it up too much. It's kind of this little thing. It's not a big deal.
Hold the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of modesty there.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot bigger. So, Mike, how about you lead off? What have you been up to? I mean, you're Mr. Traveler.
Geez, if I've been up to anything, oh my gosh! Last week was just crazy. Four cities, or actually 3 cities in 4 days. Let's see. We'll go here first. Let's see if we can. You're seeing that skateboarder?
Yes, and I'm gonna mute Chris and myself so that you.
Okay.
So you.
Well, I did the skateboarder
that way.
Yeah, I did this for Jamie. I know he's into skateboarding, so. But this actually is on South Padre Island in Texas. It's just getting some skateboarders around. Obviously, some big waves crashing. Didn't expect that to happen all at the same time. But again, this shot with probably an EM10, probably a 12 to 40 on it, and I think it's just probably somewhere around 1600 ISO. It was towards the end of the day. But cool wave get there, and when that happened. Then the following weekend, let's see, right after this is one of our shots. We have Autorama here in Detroit. It's actually where Autorama was born. I'm not sure if everyone has this in their cities or not, but if you do, it's just the most awesome collection of old classic hot rod cars, that whole lifestyle, some wild people, and we did a little get-together photo walk in Autorama. And this is one of the sharp, just out of the camera, EM10, with the 17 millimeter on this one, and straight out of the camera, JPEG. Just these colors from Olympus on this are amazing, and just really wanted to show that one. Then this was my little trip from Monday in Arizona to Tuesday in Atlanta to Wednesday in Rhode Island, and so we're gonna cover a whole week's worth of business here. This is out in Tempe in Arizona. This is with the EM1 and the 12 to 40 Pro, and I forget how long. Probably a good 25-30 second exposure here on this one over at Tempe Town Lake, the bridge there. Just a beautiful night. Anywhere in Arizona when it's 85 and it's 20 at home, it's beautiful. So then the next night, I have this great place in Atlanta. I've done a couple workshops, but the next night was this place in Atlanta is just an amazing place to catch everybody going in and out of the city. And a couple of people probably know I love live composite on Olympus. So I had to go for it. It was a great night. It was a little cloudy, which was even better because you could see how the clouds got choppy. And this is probably about a 20 minute total live composite exposure with a exposure going off probably every 6 or 7 seconds with a capture every 6 or 7 seconds. But just love working with this stuff, that live composite, the things you can do. You start thinking that way, and so that was a lot of fun. That's a great place in Atlanta to shoot. And then Providence, which I've never been in the city. I go there a lot, but never in the city of actually in Providence, Rhode Island. Found some things, got up early for a sunrise, and I found this sculpture, and I was just shooting around the sculpture actually, and then I started to bend down, and like always, when you look to places you don't necessarily think, you bend down and you go, oh geez, there's the moon, and look at all these birds. And so we got up close to this one and took a quick snap, and this one here is just a really cool shot of, I guess they move this thing around. It's called the donut, and they move it around the city, and this time it happens to be on the riverfront, and this is what's left of their 8 foot of snow there on the bottom that they've just got through the season on. So that's about it. Some pretty simple stuff actually, but a lot of fun traveling all around. It feels great to be home, I can tell you that.
Super cool.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. I love watching the images that you post up while you're traveling. It's part of my excitement on Facebook is seeing where Mike's at.
Yeah, I love that one, the Tempe Town Lake. That one's great.
Oh, geez, and I think Alex has had McClure from the Olympus Visionary Program has had that lake up there before too. What a great night. How nice is it though to be 75 degrees at night shooting and just relaxing. It makes that live composite wait a little bit easier.
I wouldn't know. It's been a long time for me.
I know.
So I'll let Chris go ahead and jump in and share.
All right. You don't have to mute you guys though. I mean, I'll be like feeling weird if it's just me, right?
All right, I'll be quiet.
Okay, me too.
Let me see if I can remember how to screen share here. Okay, so I think this looks like it. All right, so I'm going to my Lightroom here. All right, you see a guy standing on the moon here?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so this is North Avenue Beach in Chicago, and the entire beach was covered with ice and snow and everything. And this was just like not last weekend, but before that. And since then, it's all melted. But that was kind of a cool one. We walked out onto the beach, and this guy was filming something. I threw that one in there because that was my one good one recently taken with my Canon. So I thought I'd throw that in there for you guys.
That's good.
But the rest of these I think are all Olympus here. So. So one of my favorite things, I have the EM10. My favorite thing to do with it is to walk around with it during the day. Like right down around where we're having the conference, down in the Loop, is one of the coolest places. So like this is just down an alleyway, like where you'd normally be like, oh, I'm just walking down the alleyway going somewhere else. You look up anywhere down in that area, and there's cool shots everywhere. So this is just some of the fire escapes there. Or here's another one. Actually, both of these. Jamie, you're going to talk about a lens a little later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will tell you that these were not that exact same lens, but this is a 14-150. I was borrowing this from Tamron, and it was awesome shooting with this thing because you can go so wide and so far in terms of the focal length. So this is Chicago again. This is the Calder Flamingo, and I was able to shoot, super, super tight details of the bolts on the sculpture, and then go super wide as well, and that's the Sears Tower in the background in that. And again, this is with that EM10, and this is at the Palmer House. This is the spiral staircases there, and that's just so cool to shoot there. And this is something that they're kind of, they don't really like you to have big cameras. They don't want you to look professional. I've gotten talked to a couple of times there. But when I went in with the EM10 and it's got the image stabilization, this was with the 17 1.8, and it's like no problem. So I think that's ISO 1600. But especially when you're doing like black and white, you know, that grain just melts away if there is any. So
right,
that one,
right.
yeah. Oh, I take it back. This might have been a Canon too, but this was another one. This is another place that's right down by the conference center. It's the statues back here, but I kind of got behind this grate and tried to make it look like there's these zombies walking and stuff and all the starbursts. So
you know what? That's a great capture of those. I love that because it does. It's totally different than what I've seen.
Yeah,
it looks like they're caged in. You know? I like that.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, we got to shoot this, and I was with a couple of friends, and they're like, come on, are you serious? And they're like, just like, oh. And then I show them afterward, like, all right, that's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. Come on, that's cool. So
yeah, that's cool.
All right, yeah. So
that's
that's
cool.
what I got. That's what I got.
Yeah,
Well,
we're super
that
excited
one,
to come to Chicago to shoot.
oh,
I am
gosh, yeah.
like freaking out. I don't do the big city thing hardly ever, so it's going to be super exciting for me.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, like I was showing with the staircases, there's like interiors you'd never know they're there, and then the fact that you walk through the loop and it's like all you have to do is look up and just turn your camera the right way, and you get some of the coolest shots. Yeah. Or if you're like Mike or Valerie Jardin or any of them, it's all about the street photography. So.
Yeah, and they're just people everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, super excited about this.
All right.
All right. So I don't have as many photos to share as you guys. I don't tend to get out as much as you, so I've only got a few things. So.
Oh yeah, I saw this one.
So I got together with a couple of buddies, Olympus shooters, of course, and we were at one of their homes, and I was taught how to do the water droplet photography by them. Mark Miller was the guy that was showing me how to do it. So I came home and decided to. We were using studio strobes at my buddy Seth's house when we were doing it, and I got home and decided to see if I could start playing around with my hot shoe flashes, the FL600R that Olympus makes. And this was actually just shot on my dining room table. I would show you the setup, but it's like ridiculously like I don't know, redneck or hillbilly or whatever the term you'd want to use for it is. Like my wife walked through the room and looked and just shook her head and just kept on walking. But then when I showed her the finished product, she was like, I can't believe you did that with what you had on the table. But
I've seen that look before, Jamie.
Yeah, I get it far too often. But
I get it too.
So again, you know, this was just shot with the EM5 Mark II and the 60mm macro, and this is because I'm still working with the JPEGs. I prefer not to use the Olympus Viewer software, so I haven't even really touched any of my RAWs. So this is just a straight out of the camera JPEG, and that's what all these are going to be, is just JPEGs from the EM5s. The next one was here in Michigan. There's this place called the Frederick Meyer Garden and Sculpture Park, and every year they do a thing called the Butterflies in Bloom, and it's basically this gigantic conservatory, which is like a humongous greenhouse where it's 85 degrees and 70% humidity. So I guess I did get a little bit of warm weather the other day. And they have 70 different exotic species of butterfly from all over the world that they hatch out in there, and they fly all over the place and they land on people, and it's super cool. And it was a fun chance for me, I guess, to play with the 40 to 150 on the EM5 Mark II, and that's what this was shot with. Was
40 to 14. Oh, the 40 to 2.8.
Yep, the 40 to 150. Yep, the f2.8. Yeah. And I was amazed at how close I could get to butterflies. I mean, like physically close, and still crank the lens out to 150 millimeters and still get focus on them, and then be, you know, of course, far away and use it at the telephoto end as well. But they say it's all about getting the eyes in focus, so that's actually what I did with this one. I got the butterflies' eyes in focus, which is not the easiest thing to do because they don't want to sit still for a long time. We left there and went to visit some relatives, my wife's sister, and they had a cat, and for some reason this cat has like the craziest green eyes, and I thought, well, I'm gonna put the macro on and see just how close I can get to this cat's face before it gets ticked off with me. So again, just straight out of camera JPEG, and I'm a huge fan of the Olympus art filter. So this is the one of the vintage art filters.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
Thanks. It's pretty crispy. I'm floored by the detail you get out of these JPEGs.
Not usually into people and their cat photos, but that's
right.
Yeah, you probably could get 10,000 likes if you put.
Yeah, it should go straight over to Instagram and have all the crazy cat ladies stalking me. And then the next one was one I shot last night, and I'm a big fan of the selfie, so we had the Aurora make a special guest appearance this far south, and I went out, and sadly, by the time nightfall arrived here, the Aurora was starting to grow really faint. So this was about all I could get of the Aurora last night. It was almost hardly visible at all with the naked eye. But at ISO, I think this one's 3200 and 5 seconds, it starts to show up. So I decided to, like I said, do the selfie thing and jump out in front of the camera and end up in the Aurora for one of the shots. And Michael recognized it,
the barn.
The barn.
The barn.
So,
the barn.
Yeah. The barn. I'm trying to wean myself off of the barn and maybe find a different subject to shoot. People are kind of asking, where are the barn photos? Where are the barn photos? I'm like, all right, I'm kind of backing off.
I got to tell a real quick story. I sent Jamie some pictures of some cool paintings on some barns today.
Yes.
So they're very modern. They're almost like down in Detroit type graffiti that people are putting on barns here in Michigan. And I'm thinking maybe you could get a picture of yourself on that barn. We could commission somebody to put that up there. It could be known as the McDonald Barn.
Yeah,
we're gonna start to look at that. I'm gonna get Mark Miller and Dave on that.
Maybe I could get one of my photos of me in front of my barn put on another barn.
Yeah, there you go.
And we would just get really out of control.
Right.
So I guess, we're getting towards the end of the show, and I still want to do the picks. So what do you guys got to share? What do you want to talk about?
Let's do it, Mike. Mike, you go.
All right. Yeah, okay, I'll go. This one will be a bit of self-promotion, but it's going to all go together with of course, Out of Chicago. And that is right after Out of Chicago, when you want to extend your trip a bit and hang in the city a little bit after. Myself and Alana St. Laurent from here in Detroit, photographer, is going to be in. We're going to do a street photography workshop for 2 days. And all day on Monday, we'll be heading into Wicker Park, which is just the absolute hang to see people. We'll be going up and down through the streets there, getting on the L, taking some of the transportation around Chicago, and really experience it on a weekday instead of a touristy weekend type thing. So I think that'll be good. And then on Tuesday, we're going to be hanging out in the Loop, the area that Chris talked a little bit about, just some financial district area, and then also have some post-processing on the end of the day, and have a little share just like this, where everybody will get together and pick their 5 best. So just as Chris talked about knocking some money off Out of Chicago, we are also going to do the same. We're taking ours back down to the early bird price of $149 for 2 days. It's like 18 hours of shooting, because we're also going to do, I forgot to mention, Monday night, we're going to get out to Chris's favorite place, the Chicago Theater there, and just some amazing shots you can get. And if you got an Olympus, and even if you don't, I can still work with you. But if you got an Olympus, we could do some great live composite out there of light streaks with the Chicago Theater, and that area is a lot of fun to be around at night. And we'll work on street photography out there too. So, but if you want to extend your trip a little bit for 2 days, take those classes, learn during the weekend, and come out and use all that stuff on Monday and Tuesday. It'll be a blast.
That's awesome.
That's mine. Yep.
Super cool. So I think that it's really nice that you will work with people who don't carry Olympus cameras as well. Very good of you.
I will.
I think you meant you'd give them a counseling session and bring them over to the
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So what do you want to talk about tonight, Chris? I know
All
you
right.
want to talk about already, but I'll let you tell everybody.
You know what? This one's kind of okay. I want to say embarrassing because sometimes I go way too far with it, but it's pretty awesome. This came out a couple months ago. It's Topaz Glow. I don't do a lot of different plugins, but I'll do a lot of HDR sometimes. But I do really like this new Topaz Glow plugin. Can I do a screen share
Yes,
again
you
real quick?
can, please.
All right, let me show you a couple photos. Some of them more out of control than others. I guess this is the one. All right, and we were just talking about the Chicago Theater here. So this is like the marquee out in front. And the thing with the Topaz Glow is it can take a shot that's kind of good to average, and it can make it really cool. So I don't know how to describe it, except that it's got all these different presets. It'll put, it'll just like put these swirls and everything in there, but it really makes it glow. I mean, it makes it pop. So here's a really crazy one. This is one of the sculptures on the west side of Chicago here, or at the Chicago Botanic Garden. Took this, I don't know, some duck or something, but it was a really boring shot before this, and then you add that in there, and it's totally different. Or if you come in the fall to Chicago, they do this thing called Open House Chicago, where you can get into all these buildings that are usually closed. So this is like the House of Blues here, and same thing. It just looks like there's like electricity or something flowing through it from this program. And I'll give one tip with it, and I used it for this one, and that is that I like to use it and keep that as like one layer in Photoshop, and then keep the original layer as well. And so in these areas like where it's it says House of Blues or the sign up here, I'll make the opacity so that you see right through the glow and you can still read it. And then these other areas you keep it and you combine the two together. So
Super cool.
Yeah, I do that same type of thing with like HDR or whatever. So I'll go crazy HDR, but in the areas where it looks too crazy, I'll bring the opacity down there and just keep it in certain areas. So that's it.
I love that House of Blues. And plus, it's a great place. I've seen about 4 concerts there. It's awesome.
I think you might have me sold on that software too, that plugin.
Yeah.
Now that plugin works with all Adobe products like Lightroom and Photoshop.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, it's like what I do with it, and it, like I said, I feel kind of embarrassed by it because I go through and I'm like, well, this photo's okay, and I'm like, what if I try and put it in glow? Oh, that is so cool. I mean, I feel bad because it's like it wasn't really a good photograph, but it ends up looking pretty cool.
Definitely, very cool.
Yeah.
So my share is a black box. Actually, my share is what was in the black box, and that is Olympus's remake of the 14 to 150. This is, I guess, the 14 to 150 2. And so what's new in the 2 is that it is now a weather sealed lens, which is awesome because if you're an OMD owner, the EM5 and the EM1, those are both weather sealed bodies. So now you have a lens that has a crazy amount of focal range that is weather sealed to go with your kit. And it's not the cheapest lens out there. I think that it retails, $5.99. I haven't double checked the price. I think that's what
right.
it is. Mm-hmm. But this kind of becomes like a one. I used this goofy analogy over on Mirrorless Minutes website when I did a little quick review of it. I said, one lens to rule them all. It kind of is. It functions so well. The ability to be able to put one lens on, and it covers everything from a pretty wide angle. 14 millimeters on these cameras is moderately wide, all the way out to 150 millimeters, and it looks great all the way through. All the images that I shot so far, I've only used it for like an afternoon with my kids out for a walk in the woods, and everything came out ridiculously sharp. Color rendition was great. I did a shot of some old silos just pointing straight up at the blue sky, and the blues that just came out of it were really rich and detailed. And I'll tell you what, even if I wasn't part of the Visionary program and speaking, as an ambassador for the brand, I would, and from my heart, I would honestly not hesitate to recommend this lens because I've had several people asking me, when you get this lens, let me know. I want to know how it is. I want to know what you think about it because I'm looking for a way to pack one camera, one lens when I head out on a trip. I don't want to carry a bunch of stuff, and this does it really well. I'm normally not a fan of trying to one tool to do everything, but this actually does a really great job of it.
I was just going to say that seems like a great vacation, lens.
Exactly.
I mean, just to keep it on and to within truthfully, even a great lens to take on a
You
quick
know,
business trip. You know?
And where is it at? I don't know if it says it on the lens. It actually focuses like super close too. I mean, obviously it's not a macro lens. It's not going to replace a macro lens, but that's something that I've been noticing with a lot of the Olympus lenses lately, is that they allow for really close focusing. So, again, it's not going to be a substitute for a macro lens, but it does kind of get into that whole thing where it can fill that niche of being one lens that does a lot of different things for you. I know one of the people that was asking me to review it, he said, I'm an older gentleman, I like to hike into the mountains, and I don't want to take more than one lens if I don't have to. I'd really like to be able to take one. And he said, and I think that's what that lens will be for me, if it turns out to be decent, And I told him after I used it for a day, I said, I have no problem recommending it. It's probably going to stay on a camera a lot for me too.
Yeah.
And it
comes with something too, doesn't it? Comes with the lens hood. Comes with the lens
and that's another thing too, because there's a lot of complaint lately that a lot of lenses do not come with lens hoods. And in the review, I mentioned, that the pedal style lens hood does actually come with this lens, which is a bonus, And it is, for those who are wondering too. I had a couple people ask me. It's a metal mount, so I know some lenses come with a plastic mount. This definitely isn't one of those lenses. So, and if you want more information on it, or if you see a few sample images, again, they're all going to be JPEGs, because that's all I'm working with from this camera right now. Just head over to the Mirrorless Minutes website, and it should probably pop up somewhere on the front page, the review of it. So I'm excited to do a pick of that lens. So.
Right. You just got to know what you're getting into, right? I mean, some people are like, oh, the aperture, it's what, like 4.5, 5.6, something around there, right? 4 to 5.6. Yeah, okay, even better. But, some people be like, oh, that wouldn't be great for shooting inside. That's not great for concerts. Like, no, that's why you get the 40 to 150-8. But
exactly.
for this,
yes.
Yeah, like I am going to get that lens for sure. Walking around Chicago during the day, it's perfect all around. So, and
definitely
take pictures of my kids.
And I was...
Go ahead.
I was pleasantly surprised too with, again, it's not I think I say it in the review, not the brightest lens out there, because it is I zoomed all the way out at like f5.6, but the bokeh from that is great. I don't know the specs on the lens, like how many blades are in the diaphragm, but it does give a great creamy bokeh. You got compression helping there a little bit with the bokeh length, but still, it turns out a great image.
Can I do one more screen share?
Heck yeah.
Yes.
I know we're running long. All right, so I told you that I had the 14 to 150, but it was the Tamron. But I just want to show people. This was when we went to go see Disney. Are you looking at the right thing here? Are you seeing it here?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so this was Frozen on Ice. Oh my goodness, the kids loved it. This is it, right? This is the highlight. This is Let It Go right here. But this is at 14 millimeters, and she came down and started to skate around, and this is 150 millimeters.
Oh, wow.
So cool.
And it is amazing that you get the entire thing in there, and then you can zoom into that in one lens. So yeah, awesome. I am so excited to try the Olympus one. It's going to be great.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
Well, we'll definitely have to get one in your hands in Chicago for sure if you don't end up with one in your hands before then. So.
Yeah, or sooner, exactly.
All right, cool. So I guess we'll wrap it up. Again, Chris, it was super cool to have you back on. Every time I get more and more excited for Chicago.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it, but that early bird that we talked about, $100 off, and we said we're giving you guys the extra 100. I'm just going to do that for like a week, but if you're kind of contemplating later on, the early bird itself ends April 15th. Actually, we'll make Levi bring that up one more time. He said he's coming on April 15th. We'll make him one more time. So don't forget to go there. Yeah. All right, thank you guys.
Cool. Yep. Thanks again, and I'll be talking to you guys soon.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And don't forget to read the show notes. We'll have links to the Out of Chicago conference and links to where you can pick up Chris's book on photographing Chicago, because if you're going to come, there's no better tool to have than that book, and I think one of us at your side. So until the next show, you guys, take care. Bye.
All right. Thank you.